Hi everyone, so we are back with another video, and this time we are going to cover how do we create alerts and set up baseline monitoring on MySQL Flexible Server. So in the last video we saw how do we create MySQL Flexible Server and explored all configurations while creating. Today we are going to cover the important monitoring aspects. So we can begin with the monitoring of the MySQL Server. So there are a lot of aspects in the database monitoring we can start with, but the baseline being the CPU memory storage. I'll be covering only these for this session, and let's start. So last time we saw this illustration wherein we had MySQL database and we gave it a name as demo MySQL, and also we gave a SKU. Like in this case, let's check the SKU B2MS, which has basically your two weak CPUs and 8 gigabytes of RAM and 20 gigabytes of storage. So whenever we create flexible server or instance, we give a size. Like in our case, we have B2MS, which has basically two vCPUs and 8 gigabytes of RAM, right? And also we have 20 gigabytes of storage. So the point being, whenever we start utilizing our database, our metrics like the CPU and the memories are going to get used as the data comes into the storage of the instance. And if the workloads are very heavy, the CPU and memory is going to spike and can cause issues with the performance of the machine. So to check that and to get proactive notification on that, we can utilize alerts on these important metrics, and those are going to get you proactively notified whenever these kind of issues happen. So these are very important whenever you have a production system and to take action before any outage or any downtime of your database happens. Now to begin with, we are going to cover with CPU. For that, we'll go to our instance and then we can just directly go to alerts. Before going into all of that, I'll go to overview and let's see the glimpse where we can see the details of the monitoring. So we have a monitoring section here, and then we can go to metrics. Under metrics, we can see all the time series data of our instance. We have various headings from where we can see our information of the data, how it's performing, like the errors, latency, saturation, and traffic, and all of those. And we can also set up the alert on that, any metric you want to monitor. In our case, suppose we want to see the CPU, we'll search for CPU and host CPU percent. And you can see here the usage of our instance is around 4 5%, right? So this is how we can check the data. And if you want to set up alert, we can directly go to new alert rule from here. Next we have is a diagnostic setting. Diagnostic setting is the setting which we create whenever we want to send a large amount of data to our log analytical workspace. Log analytics workspace is just a warehouse for your logs, and we can select all logs, audit and all metrics and send to a log analytical workspace or a storage account or any other option here. So this is helpful in case if you want to collect the logs like audit and send it to a centralized solution and then run some queries or alerting on them. I will go back and to logs. So you can also query your logs from the KQL, which is Kusto query language Azure uses to query the logs. If you have the KQL language, you can use from here, or you can just go to queries and then directly search for any built-in queries for your database. In my case, it's just a new database. It won't be showing any results, but if you have been using your database, you can see your data here. Next, we can go to workbooks. Workbooks is like a built-in dashboard you get from Azure. You can basically create yours on as well, but we have built-in workbooks we get from the Microsoft. Like in suppose we want to go to for auditing, we can go here and check the data, but we have not enabled, as you can see in the diagnostic settings, we didn't enable it, so you can't see any data here. And now if you go back, we have overview. In the overview, we can see some data like as instance detail, the connection metrics, performance metric, all those kind of data from here. So you get a zest how we can monitor our instance and how much it's capable. So we'll go back to alerts and set up our alert creation for CPU, memory and storage and resource health. So we'll go to create alert rule, and keep in mind if we have multiple instances in the same subscription, we can choose directly from here in the scope, then the alert will trigger for multiple servers. But if our instance is in a different subscription, we have to create multiple alerts for a single metric because the metric alert works only at a single subscription. It doesn't span across multiple subscriptions. So I'll apply and then go to condition, and in the condition we'll choose host CPU percent. In here we'll choose aggregation type average and greater than or equal to 90. and then check every 5 minutes, and loop back period is 15 minutes, right? And it basically means whenever the CPU is going beyond the 90% of the its capability, we are going to get alert, and you can see the black line here, which is the threshold of the alert, and it's going to run every 5 minutes to check if the threshold is within limits, and the data is going to check at every 15 minutes. So next we can go to actions. Action group is what lets you define where you want to get alerted. So I'll go to create action group, and I'll give it a name, AG alert. I'll copy it, paste, and then notification. The notification we have push voice, and in here we can specify where do we want to notify. We can use email, SMS, voice, it will call you, and the Azure push notification, right? So I'll just use my email, right? And then click on OK. And now it will just alert me whenever this alert gets triggered. Let's go to action. We'll leave it empty and next tag and then review and create. So you can see it has got created and we'll get notified on this email address. Now next details, the alert names. We can also specify the subscription where this alert role will be created. So we can choose the subscription and the resource group. Next we can go and choose the severity. If suppose our instance is in production, we can choose critical, or if it's just a non-prod or any environment, we can use the rest of them any according to you. In my case, let's say critical. And alert rule name will say MySQL instance is more than 90%. To better understand, then copy and paste. And next we have is enable upon creation. This section will automatically enable the alert when it gets created, and then automatically resolve alerts mean whenever the alerts get triggered, suppose our CPU goes beyond 90%, our alert will get triggered, and when it goes back to 80% or 70, the alert will get resolved automatically. So next tag and then review and create. Now I will go back again and then create alert for memory, right? And we'll choose the signal memory percent, and then aggregation type will be average and value will be greater than or equal to 90. And you can see our black line is at here, and right now the usage is around 9%. And the check every will be 5 minutes according to your needs, and loop back period 15 minutes. Next action, I'll choose the existing one which we just created. This is our notification. Next details, will give the name MySQL instance memory is more than 90%, right? Let's say suppose I want to see what kind of alert it shows. For that, I'll just give it a condition of 1%. So meaning it will breach now, because right now the utilization is around 9% and I've given the threshold limit 1%. So as soon as we create, the alert will get triggered, and I'll show you after the creation. So next action and then next detail, we'll keep the default, and next tag and review and create. Now we'll again go back and then create one more, which is going to be a storage. For storage, we are going to use storage percent, and then average and greater than or equal to 90, right? And then check every 5 minutes, and loop back period is going to be 15 minutes. Next action, then use existing action group, and then give the alert rule name. We'll change memory to storage and leave the default, and next tag and review and create. So up until now, we have created the CPU, memory, and storage. These all cover important metrics regarding your instance health. Now there is one more. So often Azure from the backend, they do the upgrades and maintenance of the hardware where it's run, or the upgrades of the OS. For that, they often send the notification regarding whenever there is a planned activity from the Azure side, and you can get notification on that. And to set up that, you have to go to resource health alert, and that will be under help. So you can see here the status of our instance. If there's any activity or any restart or any hardware issues, you'll see the details from here. To add alert, we'll go to add a resource health alert. We can choose multiple instances from here as well. I have only one. We'll proceed with the demo instance only. And then we'll keep the default all as selected. Next action, use the existing action group. Next alert rule name. We'll change the name to instance resource health alert, right? And then next tag and review and create. So you can see I've created CPU, memory, storage, and resource health alert. And now what we can do is to see the alerts, you can go to alerts. And this section, it will show you if any alert is fired within 24 hours, or you can change the time duration as well. Or you can also go to alert rules to see which alerts you have created. It's not refreshing now, but after refresh, you can see you have CPU, memory, and storage. Resource health alert is not directly attached to the alert rules, so you won't be able to see here. For that, you'll go to alerts and then alert rules, and you'll see all your four alerts. So this is how you set up alert. And now to see the memory alert, which we name is incorrect, but to see the alert which would have been fired because we gave the condition of 1% threshold. And now let's go to Gmail and see if the alert has been triggered. Alright, so after 5 minutes the alert got triggered, and you can see we have Azure monitor alert was triggered, and it was the instance memory is more than 90%. And you can see the instance name. If we have multiple instance on the same alert, we would see different server. And also you can see what is the current value of the resource, right? So this is how you see the alert when it get triggered, and this was how we set up monitoring on your MySQL Flexible Server. We have also covered PostgreSQL if you want to check, and like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you.